G'day guys, welcome back for another tutorial with Mr. B. Before we get started, a little bit of background information. So here we have a linear graph. We've got a straight line graph and it's plotted on our Cartesian plane. Now this line, it cuts through the y-axis just here, and we call this this point here, we call it our y-intercept. The other point in this graph that we're interested in today is this bit down here, and this is where the line crosses the x-axis. So this point here is called the x-intercept. Today we're going to have a look at sketching linear equations, and in this tutorial we're going to look at the x and y intercept method. So we're going to start off with a linear equation, and for today's example we're going to look at 2y plus 3x is equal to 6. For this method, we're going to look at where the graph intersects the x and the y-axis. And we're going to generate 2 points on the graph. And we only ever need 2 points to sketch a linear equation. So by using this method, we can sketch a graph of a linear equation because we can generate 2 points on that line. The first point we're going to find is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is when the value of x is equal to 0. So, with our equation, if x is equal to 0, well, if we substitute that into our equation, we've got 2y plus 3 times by 0 is equal to 6. Anything times 0 is 0, so we can rewrite this as 2y is equal to 6, and then to find the value of y on its own, if we divide by 2 on the left hand side, we have to do it to the right hand side of the equation, and we can find that the value of y is equal to 3. So if we know that when x is 0, y is 3, we can write a coordinate for this line. And we know that when x, which is our first coordinate, is 0, our y coordinate is going to be 3. So we've got 1 point that we can plot on the graph. To get our second point that goes on, that can be plotted on the graph to give us our straight line, we need to find the x-intercept, and the x-intercept is when y is equal to 0. So, if y is equal to 0, we can substitute that into our equation. We've got 2 times by 0 plus 3x equals 6. Because I've substituted this value of y here, y is 0, into my equation. And if we tidy that up, 2 times 0 is 0, so we end up with 3x on the left hand side and 6 on the right hand side of the equation. Now to find the value of x, we're going to do the opposite to 3 times x, so we're going to divide by 3 on one side, and if we divide by 3 on one side, we have to do it to the other, and if we do that, we end up with x is equal to 2. So if x is equal to 2, that's going to be my first coordinate. Remember, coordinates are always written from x and then our y coordinate, and we already know that my y coordinate is 0. Now we've got two coordinates. Coordinate from our first part of our calculation, and the second part of our calculation. We only ever need 2 points to plot a straight line, and we can go to our Cartesian plane, use those 2 points, and plot the straight line graph for the equation 2y plus 3x equals 6. Okay, so we've got our Cartesian plane on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm going to plot my first point, which is my y-intercept. So I'm going to go 0, 3. So I'm going to plot a point just up here. My other point is the x-intercept, which is 2, 0. So when x is 2, y is 0. So I'm going to plot a point just here. Now if I've got 2 points, I can join them with a line, and we have our straight line graph, our linear graph. And the last thing we need to do is just to not forget that every graph we got, we're going to label with the equation of our line. And that is how to sketch a linear graph using the x and y intercept method. Thank you for watching another maths tutorial with Mr. B. See you next time.